It seems like no matter what company I work with, and no matter how well prepared they are, the proposal never gets done until the very last minute. Ask them directly, what's your timeline for purchase? Do you have funding? How are you going to put us on contract? Every agency is a little bit different. Some make it easy. Others you have to submit through their portal, and that portal can be a pain. Some of them are fine. DIU, I thought, was pretty good. But yeah, not the DOE, and definitely not DSIP.
The company just got awarded an IDIQ, and they're small, and they were like, how do I make any money off this? Like, we're guaranteed $1,000. As you've said often, getting an award on the IDIQ doesn't guarantee that you're going to make any money.
It doesn't. Now, there's different kinds of IDIQs, right? So I don't know what they have, but an IDIQ contract vehicle, you apply to be on it. It's a pain in the ass. Maybe takes 6 months or a year to get on it. And it's essentially, you can have an IDIQ with one company. You can have an IDIQ with 200 companies, right? And there are large IDIQs out there where there are just that. So it means that the government now has a contract with you, and they can put you on contract fast because they've already competed your pricing and everything else in the proposal process. And usually an IDIQ has a ceiling. So you might have an IDIQ with a $5 million ceiling. You might have an IDIQ with a $200 million ceiling. And the government can put delivery orders on you up to that ceiling. So what I would say, Gavin, is like that IDIQ, if I went to a agency for cybersecurity services and I won an IDIQ and I was the only one on it or one of three, it's a little bit different. The government probably intends to start putting you on contracts immediately if that's the case. But if you're on there with like 50 other companies, 100, that means they're going to be putting out these competitive proposals, solicitations that you still have to put proposals in on. That's just the mechanism they're going to use to put you on contract. So that's a much different situation. And yeah, you could easily, I know plenty, I still have clients, they've won IDIQs and they've never won a damn thing on them afterwards. So except for that initial $1,000, it's usually referred to as category management. When you talk about Oasis, when you hear NASA soup, these are these huge vehicles that hundreds of companies are usually on, and different services can use them, different agencies can use them. But I usually advise companies not to go after those, especially if they're small. Like you start selling, you start working with an agency, and always ask like, hey, do you guys use any vehicles or switching to something? Because if the agency you're selling to likes to use a particular vehicle, that's a reason to go after it. Or if they tell you they're going to switch to using something, that's another reason to go after it.
Rick, this is Fred. It actually comes to a SBIR question. I've got a client that has a technology that would fit within the SBIR realm, but they also have had contact with the Air Force Security as well as Coast Guard. And just wondering, going after a SBIR would be beneficial or just concentrate on those two other opportunities? Or is it try and blanket things out there as much as possible to get more and more attention from them?
If the government reached out, is that what you said? They reached out to them?
Yeah, well, it actually started with Prime, but now they want direct relationship with that company so they can purchase directly with them.
That's the priority. There's already interest there. So what I would say to really answer your question is I would go first 100% like full throttle with both of those agencies if they reached out and ask them directly, what's your timeline for purchase? Do you have funding? How are you going to put us on contract? All of that, all the standard stuff.
I have a question.
Yep.
I was wondering, can you give us some advice on how to negotiate and establish relationships with those nonprofits for the sitters?
Yeah, I mean, that's been different every time for me. It's because it's going to be one of two things. A lot of times the company that I'm working with has a relationship with like a university or something or a nonprofit. So if they already do, that's usually the route that we go down. I have relationships with some nonprofits and universities as well. And so usually when they don't, I go to my own personal people that I've worked with in the past. In fact, there's one that the girl, and she's actually been on the podcast as well, but she would write all of the proposals for me because she basically ran a SBIR and grant writing office in a university, and she won all the grants for the university. So she was awesome at that. But what I would start with is probably universities that have some kind of specialty related to the SBIR topic and the company. And like the universities and professors, especially like the assistant professors, a lot of them are the ones that are actually writing the grants. So I would start there. And because look, if they can partner with you and you can help write the grant, you're taking some of the heavy lifting off of them. And they might not be interested. It just depends on how you approach that. But that's probably where I would start, is find someone that can help you win, and then make sure you're take some of the burden off them for the actual writing process.
It was a great learning experience.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. I mean, and it seems like no matter what company I work with, no matter how well prepared they are, the proposal never gets done until the very last minute. Seems like it's always the last day. It's like last minute. Oh, by the way, this is good. So for the SBIR process, since you're not just sending somebody an email with the SBIR process, you're uploading your SBIR proposal onto a government website called DSIP. And that thing crashes the day the proposals are due, like almost every time, because you have a lot of them coming in. Like you've got to be, with something like that, you have to have it done before that last day, or else you can guarantee you'll be up there trying to upload it. It's not going to work. The site will crash. There'll be problems. So with that in particular, I always try to have it done early.
Yeah, I had that done because it was up on DSIP like 48 hours ahead of time, and it was crashing then, but with no error message. So it just you'd push upload and it would just not load. And you didn't know, like a normal, like private sector would be like, oh, you'd get some red words or a X mark, nothing. Yeah, I was crying by the day. I finally got it up at 11 a.m. and the day it was due. Yeah, I was crying.
I'm writing one for the Department of Energy right now, and they have a tool that looks a little bit like DSIP, where it say, hey, we've streamlined the proposal process and submitting everything. And it is the most complicated, not streamlined thing I've ever, everyone involved with this is punching holes in the walls, like just trying to figure out what even the requirements are. Never mind how to actually upload this thing and what they want. So yeah, you do have to be aware of that. Every agency is a little bit different. Some make it easy. You just send the proposal to an email address. That's what I like to see. But others don't. Others you have to submit through their portal, and that portal can be a pain. Some of them are fine. DIU I thought was pretty good, but yeah, not the DOE and definitely not DSIP.
The GovClose certification is generating tremendous results.
So 27 years old, you've never worked in government contracting, you've never worked as a consultant, and you just closed your first deal. Is that correct?
That's fair. And I've got a couple small projects on the side as well. So definitely probably my best investment I've made all year.
It would be my second post on how a cold call landed a 9-figure government contract. My name's Gavin Tice.
So my name is Ethan Mart. When I was able to enroll into the GovPost program, it just exceeded all my expectations and really has provided a lot of valuable learnings and insights that I would not have found on my own.
I was able to get a consulting gig with a software company that currently works with the intelligence community. Hi, I'm Deb Diller Harris.
If you want to learn how to sell to the government, if you want to learn how to start your own consulting business, if you want to learn the skills that you need to go land a 6-figure plus account executive job with big companies selling to the government, the certification program is for you. Head on over to govclose.com, check out our certification program, talk to the team. You won't regret it.